Hello, my friend, and welcome to the 390th episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today we have Pam Perry, the PR. What else comes with P? The PR promotional prodigy. Yeah, something like that. She's a PR expert, and we get into managing your digital presence, what you need to do before you jump on a specific platform. And we drive home the point I've always said: people don't do business with you for one of two reasons. Either they haven't heard of you or they have. If they've heard of you because you put forward a message that wasn't clean, that wasn't significant, that wasn't powerful, that's not consistent, if you're incongruent, they get to your landing page or your place of business, your trade show booth, and things don't line up, it creates confusion in the mind of the prospect, and a confused mind says no. So don't go running to these platforms just because everybody else is doing it. All right, so we get into that in detail on how you can grow with PR. Our last episode was Dov Gordon, the entrepreneur alchemist, super smart guy. If you didn't listen to that, go check it out and follow him. Smart guy, very well connected. You're in for a treat. After Pam on 391, we've got Mike Volpe and Ryan Ball. One of the few times I've had a tag team come in. These guys are growing rapidly. And it's a little bit of a different interview. These guys are with a bigger company. So we're getting more into brass tacks on how they're growing and how, a little bit bigger companies do things versus a smaller, truly a small business, right? Solopreneurs, consultants, speakers, coaches, authors, small agencies. Once you hit a certain point, you've got to change how to grow. So if that defines you, if that's your size of company, then take the notes from this PR episode, and then I'm going to have Mike and Ryan. I'm bringing out 3 episodes back to back because I was off for a little while. Landed several projects in June and July, so it's been good. I was also in talks with a company about sponsoring the podcast because if you've paid attention, I haven't had a bunch of paid sponsors. I've had some affiliates that I recommend from time to time. Just wrapped up a 3-month trial with a company, so that ended amicably. Decent results, but we knew it was a long shot on their offer, just due to their limited nature being in just a couple of cities. So it's a great program, but limited offer. But along those lines, if you are looking to hire great people, I've worked with an individual now for over a year. He was a guest on the podcast as well. But he offers a 1-year guarantee on new sales hires. Nobody else does that. So check out thesaleswhisperer.com/recruit, same URL. We just redirect it to John. Tell him you heard this on the Sales Podcast and just chat him up. Explain what you're doing. He'll explain if he can help you, and if he can, how he works. But nobody has a 1-year replacement guarantee on salespeople. It's unbelievable. But that's how good he is. That's how thorough he is in helping you grow. All right. So check that out. And as always, if you want to continue the conversation, hit us up on theimplementors.com. That's my free group on Facebook. And if you really want to roll up your sleeves and get good at selling, check out 30daysalesgrowth.com. That is my signature program right now. I'll be adding some higher level things in the future. But for now, that's where I hang out. I mentioned last week that I'd added content on how to handle gatekeepers, executive assistants, receptionists, so you can get through and get heard, get an appointment, get the sale. So if you're struggling with that, then you definitely want to join, because that one lesson will probably pay you dividends well above what you pay for the course for years to come. All right, let's check that out. But now let's bring on our guest. Pam Perry, Digital Business Acceleration, all the way from Detroit, Michigan. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
Hey, Wes, I'm great. Thank you. I'm feeling good.
All right. Oh, you got that picture back. You're trying to do me up. You got the speakers cover. You got the love pillow. I'm like,
Got the love
I don't know. You could tell my wife decorated this, because if it was me, the wall would be blank. I don't know. It'd be like a punching bag or something. I don't know. A keg of beer, but
I like those swords.
You women, y'all help us step up our game, at least how we look, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All the blue is matching. You got the knight swords and the blue football helmet. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That was a touch of a feminine.
So speaking of making us look good, you do that for businesses, don't you? That's a pretty good segue. That's pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Image is everything. Image is everything, especially today. We are such visually struck society, especially with social media. And so people really want to make sure it's all about those likes, all about those followers, all about just visually. That's like the whole thing. Instagram is like flipping through magazines and that sort of thing. YouTube, people are scrolling on that hours and hours. Visual things matter.
So do we need an Instagram page? Should I be on Snapchat? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I don't think you should be on Snap.
No.
This is my thing. If you don't know how to work it, you need to stay away from it. Okay? Because you don't need to go to a party and you're doing like the foxtrot and somebody else is doing like the hustle. I mean, so you're going to look dumb because it's like, oh, you really don't know what they're doing and why are they here? And so then it does a reverse for your business. People run away from you instead of you attracting. So if you don't know how to do it, stay away from it. I say get on it and lurk if you want to just try and figure it out. But if your audience isn't there, no, stay away from it. Stay away from anything that you don't know how to really work really well.
So how do I know where my audience is?
That's a good question. That is the $1 million question. And that's where the research really. So my background is in advertising and marketing and PR. So before we do anything, we always have to do research of who is your audience? Who are you talking to? Because that's going to be the language that you use. That's going to be the photos that you use. That's going to be how you deliver your message, whether it is in podcast, whether it's in video, whether it's in lives, whether it's on Periscope, whatever. So how do you find out your audience? Now, a long time ago, we used to do what we call focus groups, and we would do the research, and we would just really do the surveys. But we have social media now, so you can really survey now who it is that you're talking to and who responds. So you can do a survey via your email list. Hopefully you have one. And you can answer some questions. Like I have a survey that for my program, and I basically, the first question I ask him, what media does your target audience regularly consume? And that's just the first question, because it's 33 questions, and that stumps them. They never thought of it. Like target audience, where does my audience normally consume? Because everybody comes to me and says, oh, can you put me on Oprah? I'm like, is your audience really reading Oprah? Really? I mean, do you really think maybe you should niche it down? Are they reading Essence, or are they reading Black Enterprise? So really surveying your audience is the best way. Not what you think, but what people tell you. So it could be Facebook groups, it can be on Twitter, it can be your email, it can be obviously regular Facebook, but you need to really find out who is in your quote unquote tribe and who is really interacting with you and who really needs your message. And people will tell you. They will tell you. That is step one, really getting down your client avatar.
But do people even tell the truth in surveys? I've seen plenty of reports and talking about people answer the way they think they're supposed to answer.
That's true, but but as an entrepreneur, I think you kind of have an instinct, and you can word the questions. Like for instance, when I ask people, like this question here, what does your target audience rarely consume? Some of them will say, what media? They'll put down Facebook, and it's like, okay, but what media? And then they have to think a little bit further. So now they don't know. Now they're confused. So now they ask them, they go on their Facebook, what magazines do you read? And they may list 2 or 3 that they think, and then they say other. So they have to prod it a little bit further, because what they think may be totally different. They may say, well, we read Good Housekeeping. It's like, well, I didn't even know you read Good Housekeeping. They thinking that they read something else. So you have to prod them and list some things down, but you will be surprised what you find out, because people will tell you, if it's not threatening to them, they'll tell you the truth. So it's not threatening.
It's funny. You talk about Oprah, and that meme is always, you get a car and you get a car and you get a car. Mm-hmm. And most people don't even know what car she gave away. Do you know what car she gave away?
It was a G6.
A Pontiac, right?
It was a Chevrolet G6 or something like that. Yeah. They don't make it
You
anymore.
kind of sort of know, right? The model, yeah, it was a Pontiac, right? And Pontiac didn't even exist anymore.
No.
So
It's
Pontiac
gone.
thinks, like you said, oh, just get me on Oprah and I'll just make all this money. And a big major car brand couldn't monetize. They spent like $7 million to sponsor that. It's like
They
200
did.
something cars
Yes.
they gave away.
Yes.
And now they're out of business. The brand is gone. So I just want to drive home that point, right? And plus,
But
like,
Oprah's brand is still there.
oh, for sure, for sure. But like somebody,
Known for that.
you know, probably if somebody gave you $1 million, you could probably get them on Oprah, right? I mean, if somebody gave me $1 million, I would figure out how to get them on Oprah. But
Probably.
it doesn't mean their business is going to grow because of it.
No. You could even be in a movie and just be
Yeah.
like sponsored and have a cameo in a movie. It doesn't mean that you're going to be automatically. It's about leveraging.
Yeah.
So I won't say that Pontiac didn't leverage the whole, Oprah giveaway, but there's probably things they didn't think about. One, that they were automotive brains, and so Oprah leveraged it because, like
Sure.
you said, she leveraged it. I mean, people just remember that from.
Right.
It's in a museum, that one little clip, but
Right.
Pontiac didn't. So it's something that they had to do to leverage it. And that's part of what they had to do, just like really soak it for all its work. And they didn't.
Right. So if a Fortune 50 company can't get it right, how's the local optometrist going to get it right? How are they going to grow their business, with a staff of 10, right? Serving a 20-mile radius, geographic. Pontiac's out of business. What's the local optometrist to do?
And that's Wes, that's a good question, because today I think it's more about personal brands than these big corporate conglomerates. So when you think about Facebook, it is a big corporation, but you also think about Mark Zuckerberg, right? Or when we had Apple, we were thinking about Stephen Jobs. I mean, so it's about really, now that optometrists can become the local brand. So he has to brand himself a certain way and position himself, become more personable. It's almost better that you're smaller, because now you can actually go out and be that personal brand. Like Oprah was really, quote unquote, like a personal brand. There's things that people liked about her and knew about her personally that made it for people easily to consume her content. Whereas Pontiac, it's like, it's so big. It's bureaucracy. They can't make decisions fast. But when you're small, you're like, you know what, I'm going to be the optometrist that wears crazy glasses. I don't know, whatever. And that's what I'm going to be known for. And he's going to go out in the community, and maybe he has a pet project where he loves dealing with, I don't know, seniors and their glasses. And that's what he's known for. He builds that platform. So he can, with his small staff, he's more nimble to really mold and shape what he wants to be. But the whole point of it is that he has a brick and mortar business, but then he also has a digital platform business that he also has to monitor as well. And so building his personal brand is what he would do on the digital platform, because he can't be everywhere, because he's got to work in his business. So his website can be his 24/7 marketing machine. So it's building his personal brand while he's also doing the work. Obviously, he has to have good work, but that's one of the main things of being a smaller company. You can do that.
Yeah, but look, Pam, I went to all this schooling, and look, it's too much fun for me to throw that puff of air into your eyeball and scare the crap out of you. I don't want to get on Instagram and make pictures. So come on, is that really what I have to do to grow my business?
If you want to be a personal brand, and think about companies that, I don't know, just say Nike or any major company. One of the ways that they grow their brand is that they get one person or a celebrity to represent them. So all I'm saying is that you're the celebrity of your business. So
look, so my son, he's dating this girl. So it's the summertime. Can I just let her just be my Instagram person? I'm a doctor. I don't have time for this.
Now there are people that will be Instagram, what I call celebrities for you, or ambassadors, right? Or influencers. That's really the word. So you can pick an influencer it's more costly to do that. So say for instance, I just give an example, Kim Kardashian. All right. She's an influencer on Instagram or any social media, right? Because she quote unquote broke the internet. So you can say, Kim, I need you to wear my glasses, or I need you to say to the audience that I'm a great optometrist or whatever it is. And people will love her, love you because of her.
Right.
So you can use an influencer, but I'm just saying you got to pay her some ducats, but
Right.
you can actually become that celebrity. That's what I'm saying, because now on social media, you are the person that's building that platform. And when you're talking about eyes and things like that, you really want to build trust. And that's really your equity right there. You're building trust, because you don't want to trust everybody with your eyes. It's too important. Like you said, it's scary.
But even
Yeah.
that could backfire, right? I mean, just like with Pontiac and that fire festival, they hired all these influencers,
Let's
right?
not talk about that fire festival. I love talking about fire festival. That was
AKA,
a
let me
bastion of
hire
lies.
some skinny 25-year-old women that come wear bikinis and float on a boat and throw a concert.
But that has to do with visual. Remember, it was all visual marketing. It was content marketing. It was visual. It really played to what our eyes were looking at, and it made us aspire to want to be there. That was all visual, and it also just played to the emotions, but it was all a bastion of lies. You can learn a lot from that fire festival, how they marketed, and then they did it in a really bad way. But really, when you think about how a company should do it, it's really just really appealing to people's emotions and building trust. The reason why they built trust is because they saw a couple of celebrities that they trusted, and they lent their trust to Fire Festival. And then it's like, oh, well, this must be okay. Then it went bad. It went south. Of course, it was the biggest fiasco of all time.
Right.
And it's going to go in case studies of like what not to do on social media. I've watched the Hulu version and the Netflix version. So it's like, I'm really.
I think I watched the Netflix. Well, I mean, they marketed it very well. I mean, the problem was the founder was just dishonest.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. But at a certain point in time, he tells lies that he believes them. He doesn't know the truth if it hit him in the face. The lies became so much a part of him that he didn't understand the truth.
Right.
So as far as his personal integrity, to this day, he still doesn't believe he did anything wrong.
Right.
Because it was a habitual lying. And people understand that now that we have someone kind of like that in office, where it's just part of their personality. It's like, okay, I don't know the difference. This is what I do.
So let's use the optometrist again. I've always used a chiropractor. A friend of mine's a chiropractor in one of my, in the 30-day sales growth program. But a friend of mine, he's an optometrist, local. And I think back, I mean, we use him because he's a friend. If we didn't know him, right, I'd probably be at Sam's Club or Costco or whatever, because you know, it's just convenient, you know. Oh, look, eyeglasses. Yeah, things are blurry, and you're cheap and convenient. All right, let me go here. My wife is not on Snapchat. My wife is not on Instagram. You know, I don't know the exact figures, but I've heard 82 to 87% of household buying decisions are made by the woman.
Sure.
So, and I would think we're an ideal demographic with 7 kids, right? Even just doing an eye exam, you're going to make money going with 9 of us come through every year. Like 5 of us wear glasses. So, I mean, it's like we're his dream client. So how does he reach somebody? Now, my wife is very active on Facebook. She's a lurker. She doesn't, she posts almost nothing. She comments almost nothing, but she's on it. So how would he reach the other Shannon Schaefers of the Temecula Valley?
So it really is,
model.
Yeah. So it's really more or less like 2 ways. Well, one way is obviously in person, where he's local in his community, and that's a whole nother strategy for that. So
I mean, just being visible, just get out of the office.
Yeah, it's just showing up in different places, supporting, sponsoring, depending on where his client avatar is, who his ideal client is. It may be the school, in the neighborhood, supporting the high schools, whatever that is, you know, speaking at their science fairs. I don't know. I really, not really understanding what all they do, but, something like that. Okay. Right. So that's local, but online is a whole nother thing. So if he knows his client avatar is on Facebook, which, you can kind of like buy the different Facebook advertising to reach your client avatar. If it's like women who are 35 to 54, have children, whatever, you could buy that. And then you actually pull together the advertising. But how the advertising looks and how you speak to people, that's what you really have to dig in and know the client avatar for. So you may say in the ad, in the video, because video, we talked about, it's like video really works and pulls more. So in a video, you can talk about what you offer versus someone else, or speaking to that particular avatar in a language that they understand. And that's why it's so important to really know who your client is. Because if you talk in a language where they don't understand, they're going to flip through. Or they're seeing pictures that it's like, you don't resonate with me, they're going to flip through. Right. But primarily doing the whole digital part. And once you do that, maybe you offering them, I don't know, some kind of, I don't know what an optometrist would offer, but say something that brings them back to your website, and then the website does a conversion. That's really the whole point. Because just like he spent all the time on the brick and mortar business, when you walk through the door, you feel a certain way. He maybe has it smelling a certain way. You have pictures on the wall. He took all the time to figure out, make sure it's clean, the receptionist, all of the time for the brick and mortar business, and the same thing on the digital side, to making sure that when people come, they actually know how to navigate. They know where he is. They see endorsements, testimonials. They get into his email system, and then there's messages that go out to them. He's offering value online first before he gets people to come through the door.
Right.
So the website has to convert, or the Facebook ads have to convert to get them to the website to get them in the store. Right. Once they're in the store, then that's where the entire experience would take place. So it is both at the same time. Now, does he have to be on Facebook and Snapchat? He can actually probably just do one Facebook ad and keep running it periodically. Maybe run it like the beginning of school year, running it around certain holidays or whatever, but could figure that out. But the whole point of it is that do one particular ad, knowing the metrics, and you can kind of see if the ad really pulls too, and then making sure that it comes back to the website, and the website really keeps in touch with them so that when you do need glasses, you think of him. That's really
and people, they overlook the value of the physical location. They think it's just all digital. I'm just going to run an ad. I'm going to do a Facebook post, and it's going to go viral. But then their staff, they don't answer the phone on time, or they're surly, and rude on the phone,
or the place isn't clean.
Yeah, and I tell them all the time.
When you said this about ladies being the number one person that makes the choices, if your wife goes into the optometrist and she's waiting in the waiting room and it says, "Oh, can I use your restroom?" Because that's always the test. That's the litmus test, like whether I really like this place and if this place is clean. If she goes into that restroom and it doesn't have all the aesthetics or the smell or the cleanliness, done. Doesn't matter. I don't care if he graduated a Harvard degree. It's like, nope. You are nasty.
Right.
Because your bathroom is nasty. And that's with anything, with any kind of, that's why people like Starbucks. They're single restrooms. And so they go in, it's a small thing, but that's really a part of the whole customer experience. Right. It really is.
Well, I told my wife, she understands now, but like early on with kids, I was like, you got to take the kids to the bathroom, and she's like, "Oh, you're just being lazy," whatever. I'm like, "Come here. Men are pigs. Men's restrooms are nasty." I'm like, "I'm not taking my kids in there." So
yeah, the ladies' restrooms always have to be pristine.
Well, that's a good point. It's these little things, the things you overlook, right? You just deal with it all the time. That's why, like a fresh set of eyes coming in, you always tell people, they're like, "What kind of experience do you have in my industry?" And I'm like, "None," which is why you need me. Mm-hmm. You need a fresh set of eyes. You don't need to do what every other optometrist in 1,000 miles are doing, because you're doing that. You're already following their model, and it ain't working. So you got to do something, quote unquote, crazy to get noticed.
Crazy does work.
A friend of mine, Mike Stromso, I had him on the podcast years ago. He's a great marketer. He's an insurance guy, but he's the insurance doctor. He literally walks around in a lab coat and a stethoscope around his neck, and he's got this big pad, and he writes prescriptions for insurance.
Oh, that's cool.
And
And you
everybody
remember
knows
that?
him. He has an annual conference, and he's just, quote unquote, the local insurance guy,
Wow.
right?
Now
But
that is creativity.
he's
And
branding
that's what
himself,
gets you
and he has
noticed.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's just grinding away at their business, like, oh, back to the coal mine. It's like, dude, if that's your attitude, just close up shop. I mean, you should
And
have a
it
little
can
fun.
only, I mean, it could be like one signature event. Like you said, he has an annual conference. So say the optometrist or whatever business, you have one annual event that has a community slant. And so whatever it is, I mean, you're in your business, but you may care about Alzheimer's, or you may care about heart disease, or whatever it is. Have one event, have the proceeds go to that, and then really educate people on that. People will see and trust you more, that you're just not just a person out in business just trying to do this, but you have one event that has a community slant. You can get PR for that. You can educate people. You offer value. People can see a different side of you, a softer side. That works. That
Right.
really does work. I always tell that that's one of the things. If you're in a community, do an event that has a community slant that gives back to the community.
What's a mistake you always see business owners make?
Woo! When they decide that they want to have a website and they just only look at the front end of the website, they only look at the pictures. So I always say this, when someone is like, I want a website, and so someone gives them a website, and if it has a lot of pictures of themselves on it, they think it's a good website. They don't know the back end of it. They don't know how to really use it as a marketing tool. It doesn't have an opt-in form. There's so many things. It's not SEO optimized. No one can find it, but they only look at the front face value because their face is on it. They think it's a good website. And I have seen so many whack websites, it drives me crazy, which, is the reason why I wanted to talk to you. It's like, people don't really need PR until they have their other stuff together, their systems together. Even though systems doesn't sell as much as like, oh, I need a publicist, versus like, oh, I need some systems. Nobody's like, I need some systems, because that doesn't sound cool. That's not sexy. It's like, systems. I want PR. I want to be seen. But the systems is what's going to sustain you and scale you.
Right.
It's all about scaling. So if you don't have a system, you can't scale. Anything like we were just talking about, the plant-based meat, quote unquote meat, that
Right.
just had the IPO, they have a system. They have a system in place. That's why they could scale. That's why they make billions of dollars now, because they had a system. It wasn't because they had great meat, plant-based meat, but they had a system of how they're actually delivering it. And so repeatable, scalable online stuff is what people need first. Then they could do the PR.
Yeah.
The PR, I think, for what I see right now, when people coming to me, is just for ego.
Yeah.
Because they're not interested in scaling and really making money. They want it for ego.
Yeah.
And that's not going to help your bank account.
Right. Yeah. I mean, systems aren't sexy, but they're needed. You've got to, I always tell people, you don't have a traffic problem. You have a conversion problem.
That's
Throwing
good.
more traffic at it, like Pontiac, right? They got some eyeballs. They probably got traffic to their website, but did it convert? Because it didn't convert, they're out of
That's it. That is the main thing. That is probably the sales system that people need to understand, that you can get the eyeballs, you can get the attention, but does it convert?
Yeah.
Does it make people take action? And there's certain things that people won't take action immediately coming to the website, but if you have systems in place that really talks to your client avatar, they will eventually convert. They will remember you because you're that person that they know what you stand for. They know what you need.
Right.
That is the main thing. Or you have a conversation, or you're building trust. Trust is really like the thing that you want to build. They always say no, like, and trust, but trust is really the key thing now if you're talking about online, because people are so deceptive. So they want to make sure that you trust them, and that takes time.
Right.
But you have to convert. And so the whole thing with like you said, businesses that are here today, gone tomorrow, they didn't build the trust. They just built a sales funnel, and they put some Facebook ads, and then they thought people should come back and I should have a 6-figure launch or a 6-figure day. And it's like, but dude, you didn't build any trust. People don't know you.
Right.
And so that's one of the main things that people have to understand, that it's more than when they look and say, I want to do something like that, but they don't know the back end of what their systems look like.
Right.
They really don't. And so that's what one of the things we want to help people do. And people say, well, I just need someone to just do this. And so they have someone do this part, they have another person do that, and someone does this, and it's not in one area, not in one
Hmm.
space. And so now the strategy is like, it's a little off. It's not working like they thought because they have different people doing different things and no one knows the entire strategy. So
Yep.
digital business acceleration is meaning to help people accelerate like in one spot, the foundational part of everything that they need. Then they can do the PR and all the other things.
Yeah, I
But
see it all the time. People bring me in to advise, and it's like, well, this person runs the website, and this person does our social, and this person runs our CRM, and I
ooh,
mean, and they're
this
just,
person writes a copy for the email.
yeah, and they're all over the place. And some are employees, some are contractors,
Some are interns.
some are interns, and I mean, it's just a bunch of meetings to talk about nothing. Like I'm like, people, like I appreciate y'all paying me, but I ain't here just to collect a check. We gotta get some stuff done, and it's time to crack the whip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need one throat to choke. Let's get this thing going.
That's good, Wes. It is. That's the biggest problem because they're just looking at everything at face value. Oh, I need a logo. Okay, someone else. Oh, I need this. I'll have someone else. And then it looks like it's put together by. So we go back to the optometrist. When the optometrist was building his brick and mortar business, I'm sure he didn't have a whole lot of different people building his business. Oh, I had someone put in the floor. I had someone else do the bathroom. I had another contractor do I mean, you have one contractor build your business, or you went through one person a commercial lender that did everything for you. You didn't have a whole bunch of different pieces. So that's why you could walk through his store and feel that it's together because
Right.
one person put it together for them with the strategy.
Yep.
Instead of just piecemealing it.
Well,
That's what I find, that people just are piecemealing everything together. And someone says, well, I have a website. I said, but I don't have a blog. So I put a blog on it. I had someone else put a blog on it. You had someone else put a blog on your website. So now the blog is going off up to this other area, and your website, it's a mess.
and they had a blog post from June 1998. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they were blogging.
If you're not, my main thing, if you're not going to be in it, that really shows that you are expert in it, don't get on it. Don't get on Twitter. If you don't make your first post, like, I don't know how
They put all their social media logo. That's what kills me. They'll put 17 social media logos on the top right of their website. Like they're going to MySpace, right? It's like, dude, are you really going to MySpace? You know, they're on Pinterest, and they haven't posted there literally in 6 months or 2 years, but they
forever.
And they link. It opens in the same tab.
That's a pet peeve of mine. That's a real big pet peeve of mine. When I actually go to, that's one of the things I always check, because then I can kind of see if the web designer knew what they were doing.
Right.
So when I hit those buttons and it goes right back to the same link where it is, I was like, okay, well, this is not even set up. Why do you even have that logo there?
Yeah. Yeah. So either it goes to a hashtag, so it just circles back on that page, or it takes you to their social media page, but in the same tab. So you've now left their website. So even though I'm like seriously looking for an optometrist,
now I'm scrolling in Facebook.
Now I'm on Facebook. 2 hours later, I forget I was looking for an optometrist, and so I do another Google search and find someone, or somebody else runs an ad. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to that guy because I saw the ad. Oh,
that's it. And that's what when you open it, a web designer would know that to actually open it up so that they could stay on. They could go to Facebook, but at least that particular website stays there, so that the window of that is not gone.
Yep.
So you can always come back.
But
so yeah,
every single web designer I've ever run across has no problem embedding their link in the footer of the pages they design. So they're getting all these inbound links, and those always work. I think that's literally the first thing that they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having dogs over to your house and they go pee on your fence. Like, come on. They got to mark everything. Those links are always correct. So that's always kind of
That
interesting.
is like the main thing. That always drives me crazy too when I look at that. And it's like, okay, well, that link works, but your other
Mhm.
links don't work. So that's one of the main things of really when we do digital business acceleration, that we make sure that we do it in stages, that they understand what's going on and why. Even though it's not quote unquote as sexy, it's like, oh, I want to be in PR, and
Right,
that part will come, but let's get this part done. So
right,
the worst thing that we have to do sometimes is like, if they do have a site, then deconstruct it, or really, or I call it blow it up and then start over. But it's better that people come to us when they don't have anything together, and then we can just kind of
right,
walk them through every piece of it
right.
so that they don't have to, like when I got on your podcast, you had systems and it was very easy and very flawless. A lot of people don't know how to put those systems together,
Right.
and they don't even know how to, they don't know how to do it. They don't know, they just don't know. And so
Right.
now they struggle back and forth with just something that was very simple that could have been set up one time, set and forget it.
Yep. Amen.
Mhm.
All right. Where do we send people to learn more about you?
They can go to digitalbusinessacceleration.com. And
All right.
basically, it's a business that helps people accelerate their business digitally.
Right.
That's really what I find is at this point in the stage where people really need that. Just someone to actually consult with them and help them figure out this whole online piece, the digital
Right.
marketing piece. So digitalbusinessacceleration.com.
So what's up with Detroit? I've never been. Should I visit? Should I visit in the winter or in the
Oh,
summer?
if you like the excitement of New York and the coolness of Chicago, you would love the freshness of Detroit because we're like a combination of a New York and
Dang.
Chicago right
You're like a marketing person for Detroit.
now. I love my city. I mean, we sit right on the river, so you can even go over across and go over to Windsor, bring your passport, and you can be international. We got 3 casinos here. There is so much going on downtown. It is like a new
So
place.
look, I'm a mess though. I'm a Southern Texan Californian now. So I'm gonna need some fried food. I'm gonna need some barbecue, and I'm gonna need some Mexican food. So can I get
Okay.
that, or do I
Yes,
just
you
eat
do.
pizza? What do I eat when I'm in Detroit?
No, well, you do want to come to Buddy's Pizza. That's the main thing.
All
You do
right.
want to come to Buddy's Pizza. That's like better than Chicago pizza. You do want to go to
Oh,
Mexican Town. That is like the best place to go. You're gonna have to probably stand in line maybe 20 minutes to get a seat in Mexican Town, but the food is worth it. In terms of, see, I'm a vegan, so they got a lot of vegan restaurants here. Let's see, soul food. We got soul food. I just don't eat a lot of soul food and barbecue and all that kind of stuff. But there are some good ones here. But yeah, Detroit
so
has
what's
restaurants.
Detroit known for? I mean, like you say, Chicago. You think pizza. You think Italian. You think hot dogs. I mean, what's Detroit?
I would say Detroit. We have football, basketball, baseball,
I
and
know. I know. I'm talking about
all in
food,
all in a little area,
sports.
right? All in the one little area. So we drop you off in the middle of that,
All right.
and then you can actually go to any of the pubs in the area, and you'll just have a ball. I mean,
All
you could
right.
go to Hockey Town, you could go to the stadium, Comerica Park, whatever, whatever. Little Caesars Arena. So I guess you say pizza because we do have Little Caesars Arena.
I
So
know. Is Little Caesars pizza?
yeah, well, it's the arena. I mean, it made him a lot of money. So, but maybe
It's
that's not the best
it
pizza,
is
but
good
it's
for
just
my
one of the
kids.
best.
I'm glad they exist because the kids don't know the difference, so it's all good.
They don't. They don't. It's just like long as it's hot. Long as it's hot. But yeah, so I would say we're kind of known for just eclectic. I mean, we have so many Indian restaurants here, Thai, Mexican, obviously soul food, but just great entertainment and pubs. Just go in that downtown area, you
All
will
right.
just feel a different energy. And then go over to Windsor. That's kind of cool to do.
All right. I'm
Over
mapping
to
it out.
Canton.
All right, Pam Perry, all the way from Detroit. Thanks for coming to Sales Podcast. It's been great.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you, Wes.
Have a great day.
All righty.
Systems create success, and success is sexy. Man, it's a good way to end that. I remember years ago, I was still in Texas. So this was around 2003, maybe. I drove from Austin to Houston, and for some meetings, I stayed with a high school buddy of mine, and we were talking. He owned a mortgage business, and he drove a Porsche, a convertible Porsche. And I remember asking him, does it hurt business to show up in a nice car because your customers would think you're charging too much, and they would haggle harder. And I remember him telling me that people want to buy from successful people. We want to do business with other successful people. We want to do business with people that are more successful with us because we aspire to that. And it made an impression on me. Showing up in a beat up car and beat up clothes, although now it's kind of in vogue. People seem to try to outdo themselves on how sloppy they can look, but I digress. Look good, okay? Appear to be successful. And, the old fake it till you make it, I'm not such a big fan of that. But you can be confident. You can look as good as possible within your budget, right? You can shine your shoes. You can iron your clothes. You can be clean. You can have a nice website. You can do these kind of things that make you appear as successful as possible. And then when you have a process, when you have a system, when you know what is going on, and you have planned for contingencies and can handle disruptions and changes to the plan, you'll come across as confident and calm, and that's ultimately what people are buying, is your confidence. And so looking the part helps you instill that confidence in them, okay? But having those kind of systems helps you create success. I've always told people, if you can measure it, you can improve it. Look at your business and see what's going on. Figure out the bottlenecks. I'm working with a client right now deploying a new CRM. They've deployed HubSpot for the sales team, sales and marketing. The operations department is keeping Salesforce, but we're working on that cadence. We're working on the stages. When does marketing own this? When does it get kicked over to the business development rep? When does that get kicked over to the salespeople? And we have predictable, actionable, trackable stages for when to move this opportunity forward and when to move it backward. Okay, you need to know these kind of things because the client has said that he doesn't have insight into these different stages. You need to have that. So I've always said process before login. Document your current plus ideal process before you log into any tool and start shopping. And the reason I say current plus ideal is that most people's current process is a hot mess. So look at your current things, look at what you're doing 2 or 3 times a day or 4 or 5 times a week and figure out a process for it and automate it if you can and if it makes sense. We're in a stage right now where doing things that do not scale will help you scale. And what I mean by that is taking the time to write a letter, to make a phone call, to send a text, to make a welcome video. Those things don't scale because it's a one-off, but it makes an impact. It makes a good impression, and that does help you scale. We always talk about zig when they zag, right? Your competition is zigging. They're using artificial intelligence and bots and overseas VAs and overseas technical support teams and all these robots and automation. Maybe it's a chance for you, it's a time for you to instill some human support. Just this weekend, my wife and I had to call 2 different entities. And the nice thing was they were open over the weekend, but the bad thing was the support was overseas. We couldn't understand these people, and it was frustrating. I literally told my wife, hang up and call back, see if you can get somebody else. So in this effort to, cut pennies for earnings and whatnot, we're not giving a good experience to the consumer. I gladly pay more for Apple products to get support in the U.S. People I can understand, have a better dialogue with. I'll pay for that. Now, I personally have overseas VA, so it's nothing against overseas help, but we type to one another. We don't speak. Their written communication is perfect. So they help with web design. They help with Infusionsoft. They help with HubSpot. They help with my own site and for clients. They help with SEO. But they're not making phone calls. So know where to spend the money, know where to save the money. Have your processes. All right. So go check out the notes on this episode, Pam Perry. If you want to grow your business and you want to get better at sales, come hang out with us in the 30-day sales growth. It is super affordable. You get on-demand content, plus you can ask your questions of me, and then I do periodic calls, live calls to take your questions. But you're going to get help from me in this group. So if you have questions around CRMs and systems and processes and what to say and how to say it, pipeline stages, when to move forward, when to move backward, how to get some press, that's where we do it in the group. All right, 30daysalesgrowth.com. Check that out. Your 5-star reviews help more than you know. So please leave a review. And now, go sell something.